You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. And thrilled to be joined by former Tiger great Eddie Kennison, now obviously over on staff out there at LSU. And always appreciate when we get a couple of minutes with a former Tiger great. Eddie, we appreciate you, man. How are you?
Oh, Matt, I'm doing great, brother. And I heard you say driving home, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm driving home, brother.
Where you headed, man?
I'm headed to my house in Lake Charles.
Love it, man. That's awesome. A little weekend away?
A little weekend away, me and my son, and go spend the weekend with my mom, man, and enjoy a little time with her.
I love it, man. That's awesome. Heading home to the LC, man, the 337.
That's it.
Safe travels over there, man. We appreciate you taking a couple of minutes with us. I wanted to you're a great person to have on right now because the draft order and the early entry draft deadline was earlier this week. So we know the draft pool is set, and a lot of guys are heading toward that, and we also know who's staying. But I want to go back because, Eddie, you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that back in the 96 draft, you became the first ever LSU player to declare early. Am I remembering that correctly?
Oh, man. I don't know if I am or was, but I hadn't heard of anyone football-wise that left early before me. But, man, I don't know that exact history. Geez, that's a great question. Now you're going to make me go do homework.
Well, I think the point is, too, Eddie, like it wasn't very in vogue. Like it was an uncommon thing, and now it's more common. So I'm just curious from your perspective, the decision you had to make, 25 years ago, how that might compare to some of the decisions like the young guys are making today.
It's a lot of different reasons. I made my decision on a couple of things. One, it was to change the trajectory of my family situation, and more importantly, to retire my mother from her job at the time. And two, we had a head coach at the time that we didn't get along, and that all of those factors together for me pushed me over the edge to leave. A lot of the guys, today that leave, I'm sure they have their own motives on why they're leaving. I think a lot of things play now are potentially with a lot of emotions dealing with everything. Man, there's so many things that are happening, and there's so many things that the guys can put their eyes on that's in the National Football League, whether it's money, whether it's fame, whether it's whatever the case may be. So there are a lot more factors that the guys declare early for now, I believe, than when I had back in my day.
Yeah. Eddie Kennison is with us. Of course, there's a couple of LSU receivers who are heading to the draft, and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, and both are projected, obviously, to be first-round picks. What do you see? What did you see with those two guys this year in their development to put them in a spot where both are likely going to be top half of round one guys?
Well, at the beginning of the year, we were kind of, we were walking on eggshells trying to figure out, who else, those guys mid-season, they really stepped up their game to help, our offense be what it was. Obviously, and it makes it a little bit easier when you're playing with a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. So it makes running routes and catching balls and being on the field a lot more fun. But those guys as receivers, Coach Hankton, he dialed in and figured out, what they need to do and how he could coach them to be better receivers. And those guys, they bought into it. And it showed on the football field on Saturdays. And I could not be more proud of both of those guys for stepping up and being leaders in that wide receiver room. It was very, very fun to watch them all season long.
Eddie, and Eddie Kennison is our guest. What did you see from Jaden this year? As a receiver, guy who played the position, obviously played a long time in the NFL as well, that lets you believe it's going to translate for him to the next level, that he's going to be able to go to the NFL and succeed as a quarterback there in the NFL as well?
Brother, Jaden Daniels so remind me of Randall Cunningham. And we all know the type of quarterback that Randall Cunningham was and the dynamics that he brought, even in the time he played. It's the same kind of build, same kind of frame, same kind of movements. Obviously, a little bit more motor skill that Jaden had, but, that's today. And I believe Jaden Daniels will make it one because if you see him, he's always having fun. He's smiling. He's enjoying the game more than anything. The game is fun for him, and that will translate into the next level for him to be and potentially be very successful because he's still enjoying the game. And it's not like, he's already making money, so it will just translate into him making just a little bit more money with him continuing to love the game the way he does.
Eddie Kennison's with us here for a few more minutes, talking about the LSU guys, not only the ones heading in the draft, but some of the ones coming back as well. I wanted to ask you about the guys coming back at receiver, Eddie, and what you were able to see from them. And I want to start with Kiren Lacy because he'll be the veteran guy in the group coming back for a fifth collegiate season. And while he took a back seat to two guys that are going to be first-round picks, this seems like this is going to be his opportunity. What do you like from Kiren Lacy's game, and do you see a comp with him with someone else that we might be familiar with?
Yeah, so with Lacy, obviously he's a tall, tall guy, can run really good routes. I believe this off season that he goes and he really works on studying the game and getting on at the time what we call the jugs machine, to really hone in his skills to catch balls from every angle and in every situation, and for him to be ever more consistent with catching the ball. His route running skills are awesome. His mobility is awesome. I wish that he would go in this off season and really work on, consistently catching balls in all angles from all directions. I really see some him.
What do you think about him wearing that deuce?
Hey, brother, we've had some dogs wear that deuce, brother. We've had some dogs wear that deuce, and I ask any of the listeners, go and over the last 28 years of the guys who wore number 2 and see how many first-round draft picks that we had come out of LSU that wore the deuce.
I can think of Justin Jefferson and Jamarcus right off the top. Of course, Eddie Kennison. There's been a list. Man, look, Ryan Clark wore 2.
Ryan Clark.
He wasn't a first-round pick. He didn't get drafted, but dude played 13 years in the NFL. There have been some dudes. I'm sure there's guys I'm leaving off, too.
Oh, that's right. And it's crazy that you mentioned that because I even look at the game and I have my friends when we're looking at the game. They like, all right, who representing the deuce this year? Who's wearing it? And so it's we probably need to make like a deuce trophy or who wears it and make some fun out of wearing the number deuce. I know 18 and 7 is a big deal. Those are always big deals. We need to make something out of deuce, man. What do you think?
Look, man, I'll tell you this, Eddie. I'll tell you what I tell everybody when we talk about 18 and 7. I don't care if you put a poop emoji on your shirt. I just want you to play good. You know what I mean? Like, if the number means something to the player, then I'm for it. You know what I mean? Like, but I would also rather think, like, Malik Neighbors is probably the best number 8 we've ever seen at LSU. I think that's fair. Like, he owns that number forever now. You're going to think of 8 and you're going to go Malik Neighbors. Like, when I think 25, right. I go, boom, Josh Reed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's right.
That's kind of for me. But anyway, man, hey, look, you want to make a deuce trophy? We'll see. We'll talk about it on air. You better believe we will, man. Hey, last thing I wanted to ask you before you go, and the great Eddie Kennison is our guest with us here. Of the other receivers coming back, we just didn't get to see a lot of them play, Eddie, because the first 2 guys were so freaking good. Who are the guys that maybe you see a little something that you really think could have a meteoric rise next year?
Oh, brother, when I tell you this kid is a diamond in the rough, and I've been saying it for the last 2 years, and we have not seen him play a lot. And I will sit in any studio, any chair, and talk to anybody about this young man. I believe that he has the talent, the hands, that's even better than Malik and better than Brian Thomas who's a better route runner, but he's a quiet kid. And I'm talking about Chris Hilton.
Mm.
When I tell you, Chris Hilton is my diamond in the rough, I cannot wait for Chris Hilton to step on the field and shine, because I believe that kid, he has every talent and ability that you can think about in a receiver, and not just running routes and catching balls. He's a fantastic young man as well.
He can fly too, man.
And he can run, brother. He can fly. You doggone right.
Why isn't he returning punts, man?
That's a good question. I wish I could answer that, but I would love to see him back there returning punts.
Chris Hilton, man, he's waited his turn. Would love to see him have a gigantic year next year for the Tigers.
That's right.
The great Eddie Kennison, man. When you think Deuce, I'll always start with Eddie Kennison, man. The giant game against Michigan State, of course, the Mississippi State game. Man, that's a lot of my great childhood memories, man. I don't mean to date you with that, Eddie, but yeah, I mean, you know.
That was just your nice way of calling me old, brother. But you know what? I accept it, because time and gravity, it waits for no one, bro.
Hey, bro. Hey, look. I saw you earlier today, man. No one would look at you and think that's a 50-year-old dude right there, man. You've kept yourself in really good shape, man. Eddie Kennison,
I appreciate it, brother.
Hey, man, drive safely. Thanks for a couple of minutes today. We'll catch up down the line, all right?
You got it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.